Good morning, this is Rich Nelson with Allendale with a special update. Today is September 12th of 2017. Well, it's monthly report day from USDA, and certainly they gave us something to talk about here. A few surprises along the way. Now, as far as corn yields, well, corn yields were actually raised from 169.5 to now 169.9. Production also posted a similar 29 million bushel increase. As a reminder for this specific report, there were no changes on acreage. That won't be seen till the October report when USDA incorporates the crop insurance data with these monthly reports. So we had some higher yields reported here today from USDA. Also, of course, some higher numbers as far as the new crop ending stocks, going from 2.273 billion bushels to now 2.335 billion bushels. So a moderate increase in both production as well as stocks when the trade was expecting a net decrease in numbers. So for corn, you can certainly argue the domestic numbers were a little bearish. Over on the world numbers here as well, got to point out Argentina's crop as far as the spring 2018 harvest was raised from 40 to now 42 million tons. No change for Brazil's 2018 crop. Mexico was increased by about 1. So for both the U.S. as well as the general world tone, there actually was some changes there to look at. As a reminder, we did have some increases for South America. I mentioned this Argentina discussion, also the Mexico discussion as well. As a reminder, let's also point out that some of these other states, FSU as well as Ukraine, actually saw net declines in production. So that helped mitigate some of the bearishness from the U.S. production increase. And over on soybeans, same type of story there. USDA did raise their numbers as far as yields, going from 49.4 bushels per acre to now 49.9. So a net increase there, and that obviously led to a production increase as well. In this case, about 24 million bushels here. As a reminder for us to look at there, part of this news was kind of offset by some changes with the demand side. We did see about a 25 million bushel increase for USDA's new crop export estimate. That one might be a little controversial here. Keep in mind, most people would suggest that new crop bean exports are actually a little bit under where they should be at this point in time. As far as the ending stock numbers, 475 million bushels, that was left unchanged from USDA's numbers last month. Now, as far as the world discussion here, no changes across the board as far as South America to speak of, or in fact any of our other main competitors there. So no major changes for the world soybean stocks to use. Over on the U.S. wheat numbers here, that actually was, as expected, no change on this report. USDA will be making some production changes here on the September 29th, what's called the Small Grains Summary Report. And on September 29th, we also get in the old crop ending stock numbers from the second report on the 29th, which is the stocks, the grain stocks report. Now, as far as USDA's wheat numbers here, like I said, no change for production. No change also in ending stocks, 933, in this case, million bushels. And wrapping up here as far as the wheat discussion on the other world numbers, we did see some moderate changes here and there for some of these minor players. We've got to point out that the FSU countries, in fact, did see about a 4 million ton increase there. So that was an increased production discussion. But one thing which was a little surprise for us, world ending stocks would post a net decline based on some demand changes elsewhere. So bottom line for us, today's report certainly was a disappointment for both corn and soybean markets. Obviously, we're going to see some lower trade based on these new numbers, but I think most of the trade probably will realize that the real numbers will be saved back until October, when USDA does a more extensive survey, and we also get some more realistic acreage numbers finally in the mix. If you have any questions about this report or markets in general, give Allendale a call, 1-800-262-7538.